You step softly across the tiled floor of a gaslit Victorian scullery, your slippers brushing past a shallow bowl of milk. Something rustles under the wood stove, and you freeze. Not out of fear, but habit, because you know who's hiding there. Your hedgehog. Not a pet, exactly. More like an unpaid intern in pest control. Victorian kitchens, you'll recall, aren't the shiny marble affairs of today's Instagram posts. They're warm, but drafty, cluttered, but somehow cozy, and, before refrigeration or chemical insecticides, absolutely crawling with things you'd rather not mention during supper. Enter the humble hedgehog, a creature whose primary qualifications are pointy, nocturnal, and ravenous, especially for insects. So there she is, your hedgehog, likely female, because apparently Victorians believed lady hedgehogs were more docile. She spends her nights waddling the floor, nosing behind flour sacks, and vacuuming up cockroaches, beetles, and even the occasional slug. You might name her something elegant, like Petunia or Mildred, and you leave scraps of bread and milk out, despite modern vets now frowning upon that diet. Back then, 5-star treatment. Of course, you don't broadcast this arrangement to guests. Hedgehogs aren't exactly fashionable. Yet, in quiet corners of Britain, this strange alliance blossoms. You're not alone either. One 19th century manual offhandedly refers to hedgehogs as ideal for kitchen hygiene, like it's just a thing normal people do. And in urban areas where rats and insects are a menace, this spiny roommate becomes surprisingly practical. But even then, debate simmers. Some Victorians argue hedgehogs are unclean or carry disease. Others claim they bring luck, which is frankly the more fun theory. The truth, uncertain. Scholars still disagree on how widespread this practice really was, or whether it sprang from rural traditions, urban desperation, or both. Still, you trudge across the kitchen and watch Petunia snuffle by your boot, oblivious to her niche role in history. She sneezes. You nod respectfully. You glance up from your embroidery, careful not to spill tea on the velvet footstool, and hear it again. A faint snort, a soft clatter near the coal scuttle. Your hedgehog is making her evening rounds. And while your housemaid rolls her eyes, you know better. Mildred, the hedgehog, is not just a kitchen oddity anymore. She's become a social symbol among certain circles of Victorian society, especially those fond of eccentric charm. The idea of keeping a hedgehog indoors gains curious traction. It begins as utility, of course. But when has upper-class Britain ever left well enough alone? Soon, the hedgehog is no longer just a pest controller. She's a talking point, a dinner anecdote, the subject of an illustrated letter to your cousin in Yorkshire. Some ladies go full theater with it. Hedgehogs dressed in ribbons, ill-advised. Hedgehogs cradled like lapdogs, painful. Even hedgehogs perched on hearthrugs for naturalistic effect. At least one countess, though her name is disputed, supposedly kept a pair in her breakfast parlor and let them roam free among the muffins. The household cat was said to sulk about it for weeks. Of course, there's backlash. Etiquette guides of the time walk a fine line. One gently scolds that bramble creatures have no place among scones, while another, more whimsical volume, suggests that hedgehogs reflect a lady's earthy sensibilities. You picture Mildred snuffling beneath your fainting couch, blissfully unaware she's now a symbol of rustic charm. or rural embarrassment, depending on who's judging. Even household staff have opinions. Some adore the hedgehogs, feeding them secret biscuits. Others dread their little feet and bristly sneakiness. More than one maid has reportedly stepped on one mid-rush, leading to stifled shrieks and smashed crockery. Still, you persist, because in an age of powdered wigs and horse manure-slicked streets, there's something comforting about having a quiet, diligent creature poking around in your scullery, even if she occasionally gets stuck behind the umbrella stand. And scholars, still scratching their heads, was this trend a widespread, upper-class quirk, or just scattered eccentricity? Diaries hint at both. But one thing's for sure. Mildred's got range. By now, you've grown oddly fond of your spiny little housemate. You even catch yourself humming when you refill her saucer. Oat milk, now, because you read in a modern pamphlet that dairy isn't ideal. She doesn't seem to mind. Mildred just blinks slowly, nose twitching, like she's judging your life choices. Victorians, of course, wouldn't have used words like domesticated in the modern pet owner sense. But hedgehogs occupied this strange middle ground, part tool, part companion, part accidental vibe. People assumed all sorts of things about them. Some believed hedgehogs had an innate moral character, modest, solitary, clean, not at all like those flashy parrots or unpredictable monkeys favored by sailors and scandalous ants. Hedgehogs didn't gossip or shriek. They minded their business. Very British. But science wasn't entirely on board. Even then, a few naturalists raised skeptical eyebrows. Could a wild hedgehog truly thrive indoors? Was pest control just wishful thinking? And, crucially, did these animals even want to be in your kitchen? Victorians debated these things in drawing rooms and science clubs over port and pudding. Today, scholars still puzzle over whether hedgehogs made any noticeable dent in household infestations, or if their reputation was inflated by wishful homemakers and anecdotal charm. You'll also encounter stranger claims. One widely shared belief was that hedgehogs could steal milk from sleeping cows by sneaking underneath them, a biological impossibility that's been debunked but still makes its rounds in folklore. Others thought they had supernatural pest-repelling energies, as if their presence alone could shame a rat into leaving. There's even an account, just one, of a hedgehog being used to guard a stash of sugar cubes. Bold choice. And then there's the snuff box theory. Yes, snuff boxes. A few rather poetic historians suggest that some hedgehog spines may have been used in grooming tools or dainty containers, though evidence is wispy, a topic of ongoing debate, as academics politely put it. You yawn, stretch, and shuffle toward bed. Mildred is curled near the hearth, snoring lightly, if you can call that odd wheezing noise a snore. She's done her rounds, eaten her crumbs, and settled in. Not bad for a pest.